thank you all. Thank you for coming. I have seen this documentary like yesterday. No, that was the beginning of the movie. They're having a fight. Anyway. So, this documentary is about a school which applied some scientific findings and were able to do that and turn around some very troubled kids. And they increased the graduation rates at their high school by a factor of 7. 7 times as many graduated as previously. But first, I'd like to recognize a few people that we have here in the audience. We do. We do have an elected official.
Yes, we do.
Would you introduce yourself? Hi.
Hi, I'm Jewel Canada Wayne, City Council Member, District 7, and an educator for 22 years.
Yeah. All right, and we also have Chief of Police Alexander. There were a group of people who were going to come from Lakeview Center. Are there any Lakeview people here? Yeah, okay, there we go. Good to have you. And there were some from OAG Enterprises, which is, yeah, very good. Good to have you here. And we have also someone from the community who was recently written up in the newspaper and had a very significant birthday. That's Miss Laura Wills. Now, Dr. Eurydice Stanley was supposed to be here, but I haven't seen her. Has anybody seen her? She said she was going to bring a group of students, and oh, you're the students. Okay. Tell me what school you're from.
I go to Pensacola High.
Pensacola High. Okay. Well, it's good to have you here. And let's see, we also have Mr. Willie Kirkland, who has been very supportive in helping our struggling students. Anybody else I've missed? Any other elected officials or people? Okay. Now, let me introduce myself. I'm Paula Montgomery. I'm the chairperson for the Education Committee for the League of Women Voters of the Pensacola Bay Area. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan national, state, and local organization which acts to educate the public about important issues. We don't sponsor candidates. We don't sponsor political parties. We study issues and we take positions based on the facts that we find out. Then we educate the public and we take on jobs in order to make things change that need to be changed. One of our local co-presidents is here. Ellen Roston is one of our co-presidents. Yay, Ellen. She's also a very good editor when I write viewpoints. Okay? And who else is a member of the League of Women Voters here? All right. Good. I want everybody to notice that there were men in that group. We're called the League of Women Voters, but we are not for women only. Okay, it's also sponsored not only by the League of Women Voters, but also by the NASW, which is the social worker group. How many social workers do we have here? All right. Very good. Their representative that worked with me on this program is Patricia Parker. They provided the refreshments, which is a big, important thing. The coffee, however, is courtesy of Pam Schwartz. So, yeah, thank you to everyone. When I first began to work with a very talented committee about this school-to-prison pipeline issue, there were people who took issue with what I was doing. They said the real problem is the social problem, the poverty, single-family homes, drug and alcohol abuse. And I agree with all those contributing factors, but that doesn't mean that we should just fold our hands and say we can't do anything. Those big factors feed into the system, and the system is not handling what comes in very well. Right now, our school system produces a high school graduation rate somewhere in the 60%. We need to do more to mitigate the effects of those big social problems the best we can, one step at a time, one bite of the elephant at a time. The system's big. We can't take on the whole thing. However, I personally can teach a 4-year-old his alphabet and to enjoy reading. And I can speak out, and I can host events like this, and attend programs that other people put on like this, and let the community know that while we have problems, they're not insurmountable. We all have a role and a responsibility in making things better. The good news is that this is a great community to live in. There are a lot of good people out there, and they are paying attention. They're paying close attention. They're making moves in the right directions. They're bringing together a wealth of resources in our community. The Chamber of Commerce has a committee that's been coming up with plans to involve the business community in our schools and get their involvement. United Way is doing a fabulous job pulling together the not-for-profit groups and creating networks so that there are fewer gaps in the network of safety for our kids and for our community. This documentary you're about to see, if I'll ever budge, shows what one school did to help with the system that was failing their young people. And we'll get to that in a minute. You have packets of handouts. The systematic approach to helping these at-risk kids in the movie is based on a study done several years ago by the CDC and Kaiser Permanente Healthcare. And the first page of your handout with a little pyramid on it is about that study, the 17,000 kids that they studied, and they're still following, even though it's been about 30 or 40 years, to see what the long-term fallout is from kids that have a lot of ACEs, which are adverse childhood experiences. There is also another sheet in there that was put out by the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, and it's excerpted statistics from that study. And they will mention that study in the movie. They don't call it by name, but they do mention it. You also have in your handouts a League of Women Voters brochure. We invite you to join, read about us, and notice that despite the name, it's not for women only. And you also have a few blank cards. Now those are for your questions and comments. If you think of a question during the film or after the film, when we have the speakers come up here, then write them down on the cards. We'll pick them up, and our moderator will read them aloud so everybody can hear the questions. In a room like this, if we have people popping up hither and yon and speaking softly, we won't be able to hear them, so our moderator will read them. And the panel will answer them. And by the way, this is a little commercial. The League of Women Voters wants you to consider signing a petition to make it legal in the state of Florida for other people other than the power companies to generate and sell solar power. This would permit competition and make solar more available. And we have these, we will pass them around, and if you're willing to sign them, we'd appreciate it if you do that. We only have till the end of December to get something like 60,000 of them. We're working on it. That's another issue that we're advocating for. And what have I left out? The bathrooms. You can go out this door and all the way to the end of the hall. They're on the left down there.
Cell phone.
Beg pardon?
Cell phones.
Oh, yes, cell phones. Please put your cell phones on mute. After the film, we'll turn the program over to Teresa Zwerkowski of the Pensacola News Journal, and she will introduce the panel. And I'm asking the panel speakers to stand when they speak, because otherwise they will not be on the video. It'll be the backs of people's heads. And I want to thank the Pensacola News Journal for providing us with Teresa and also providing us with this room tonight. So thank you for the and on with the show.